Welcome to the October 15th video summary of the Yachats City Council meeting. We started our meeting off with a hearing regarding short-term rental licenses. We were really just making some clarifications around corporate entities owning property, which is acceptable, but real people, one or two real people, have to in fact be the license holders. This was just language improvements, not anything separate, any changes to the code. We also added some language that short-term rentals are businesses and thus pay business water rates. We also extended the time to repair a citation violation from 5 days to 15 days and added language that shows that if a rental does not show any revenue within 2 years, they will forfeit their license. We currently have about 6 people on the rental license waiting list, and we turn over about 10% a year. Later in the council meeting, the City Council agreed to pursue software that can identify rental properties that do not have licenses. Next, we discussed the consent agenda height, and here's some of the highlights. Around infrastructure, making progress in Little Log Church, the library, the Commons, and East 2nd Street. The Commons ADA restroom is scheduled to start in about middle of November, and the trolley is expected to arrive in about 6 weeks. We also talked about traffic and safety when we've seen significant increases in traffic situations, and the city manager noted that ODOT has approved slightly extending our 25-mile-an-hour zone and reducing the 40-mile-an-hour zone to 35 miles. Those signs have already been ordered. We did apply for a traffic competitive grant for a traffic study, but we didn't get that grant, but we are pursuing other ways to get it. Our financial performance is on track. We did conduct an emergency preparedness exercise, went well, but we plan to conduct additional exercises so that we're even better prepared. Finally, our city recorder has initiated software from our current software vendor that will significantly improve our agenda process and make that both more efficient and effective. In new business, we discussed speed cameras and traffic calming. We discussed the current calming measures, which are the reduction in speed, as well as the purchase of a radar device for the sheriff to use that should be here in the next couple months. And the ODOT additional recommendations to including trees and sidewalks, which are currently in our capital budget. We did get a very comprehensive presentation from Todd Phipps on speed cameras, and if you're interested, you can find that presentation in the city agenda. The impact is that we know that speed cameras do in fact reduce speed. The ticket threshold has to be 10 miles an hour over the posted speed. That's about 37,000 vehicles in Yachats from the period of January to August. The violation data is that there are about 37,000 speeders over 10 miles an hour in Yachats between January and August of this year. The way the revenue works is that the vendor collects the ticket revenue, and then the city and county split whatever is left for their handling fees of that ticketing. The council did have several questions based on the City of Portland's first report on their traffic cameras as required by state law. Ticket processing are challenging, especially out-of-state drivers as well as people that challenge the ticket. Challenges are complex, bouncing between the vendor, police, the courts, back and forth a few times. Portland found that courts often reduce the fines about 42% in a total, and a lot of that is sending people to traffic school. Portland did see about $1 million in revenue over 2 years, but that's based on twice as many stops as we see in Yachats. Lincoln County does not have a system to process tickets like this, so it would all have to be initiated and created before we could start really using traffic cameras. The council agreed to continue a traffic calming work group, but it has to be in relationship to the current traffic calming measures that we're engaged in, the radar, sheriff's radar, as well as other calming measures and the reduced speed limits before we commit to a camera. Phipps and the council both agreed that the motivation behind a camera should not be the revenue. In old business, we looked at the fireworks survey in the water tanks. In the fireworks survey, we had 540 people respond, which is the highest for any survey that we've done. There was strong support for continuing the current kinds of celebration, but there was a more even split around the loudness and length of the fireworks. The council agreed to implement a shorter program for next year with quieter fireworks. We also want to have more traditional activities in the afternoon, like music, sack races, egg carries, those kinds of things. And most importantly, we want to work with the sheriff to strictly enforce our fireworks ban. The city manager has already started the planning for that process and is well underway in her discussions with the sheriff. In the water tank survey, as we discussed last time, the current plan showed us that the site that we're looking at is going to be incredibly difficult and expensive. So we're looking at an alternative site which happens to be on city property. The first study was grant funded, but the second study will cost the city about $100,000. We're going to work with a geologist to do a walkabout to make sure there's kind of a face validity to that location that we're looking at, followed by a road cutting survey and geo study in detail. The new site is on city property though, so that will save us overall quite a bit of money. The drawback is that the new site does not afford us an opportunity to put in any kind of middle housing, which was one of the advantages of the other site. That's still, however, a City Council goal, and we will continue to work on that issue. Thank you for your time and attention. That concludes the video summary of the August 15th City of Yachats video summary.